Welcome to Metaphysical Soul Speak. I'm your host, Elena Fox Starks. Hello, guys. I hope that you're doing well wherever and whenever you listen to this. I hope that you're remembering to let go of your venting dreams. Remember when we went over what kind of dreams we have at different times of the night and what they might mean and why we have particular dreams. And I just want you guys to remember that whatever you dream right before you wake up in the morning or afternoon, if you're me, after you've had a decent amount of sleep, it's the last third of the sleep time. So if you sleep 9 hours, the last 3 hours. If you sleep 6, it's the last 2 hours. So the last 1/3 of your sleep period usually is your venting dreams. And I hope that when you have these dreams, especially this week and on through July, when you have these dreams, I hope that you're remembering to be grateful that your subconscious mind has decided to let these ideas, these thoughts, and these feelings, and sometimes people, places, circumstances, and situations go. That's what your subconscious mind is doing. It's letting all of that go. I had a particularly distressing venting dream this morning. I'll share with you guys so that you could see what I mean. So in my dream, I was tall and thin compared to where I am now. And not tall, but a lot taller. I had not broken my leg. And I was wearing nice high heels and very expensive suit. And I was working in an office that helped people to stay in the United States that were foreigners. And I was like an advocate of some sort. Maybe I was a lawyer. I don't know. And I had a really nice apartment, and I was getting ready to move into my condominium. And the movers were supposed to come and get all my stuff while I was at work. And I'd forgotten to put the keys with the landlord. So the landlord was very mean and was going to lock my apartment up permanently after a certain hour or something. Like a really ridiculous situation where you can't get your stuff after 4 or whatever. It's like completely illegal and not in reality world anywhere would that happen. But in my dream, it was like the absolute rule. So all of my stuff was at stake, but I had to work. And I had a man from Mexico who was gay, and he was my client, and my job was to get him to his appointment with the government on time and advocate for him because his English was not very good. He had some English was broken, and my job, I mean, it's like my dreams are super detailed. So this was my job. And I drove a really nice car. It had a really nice alarm on it. And I had my own space in the parking lot next to my building where I worked, which I was in Los Angeles. And I had called my son, who was an adult, and he had his own place. And I said, I'm really running late. I'm waiting for my client to get here. If we don't get there, he's going to be deported. So I really need some help. Where are you? And he's like, I'm just around the corner. And so I said, if you could run up and get my keys, I need you to go downstairs and get my purse out of my car for me. But also my car is parked in my space. If you could bring it to the front of the building, because I'm really running late. And then you could just kind of leave the car there, let it idle while you run my purse up to me, because I needed to call. I had to make a phone call, and all the information that I had to give the movers was in my purse, and I forgot my own address, which, how stupid is that? No one's ever going to buy a house and forget where they live or where they're about to live. So my son said, okay, sure, Mom, no problem. And he ran upstairs, got the keys, ran back downstairs, and he doesn't come back for like 15 minutes. And I'm waiting, and my client gets there. He's not able to hardly breathe. He ran up the stairs because the elevator suddenly wasn't working. And it was like totally suddenly a madhouse. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, well, now we got to go. So he and I are waiting and waiting and waiting for the elevator. Finally, we get the elevator. We go down to the basement to go meet my son with the keys in the car and with everything. And I still don't have my purse to call the landlord or whatever. And my son is in the underground parking lot crying. Not really crying, but like mad, angry. But he has tears in his eyes. But he's not actively crying, but he's just so mad. I'm like, oh, where's my car and what happened? He says, well, another car came out of nowhere and they totaled your car. I got out of the car in time, but it blew up. I'm like, okay, and where's my purse? He goes, I don't know. I felt like I had to stay down here to warn other people about the explosion and the potential danger. So I didn't want to look stupid carrying a woman's purse, and I didn't want to be, maybe someone thinks I robbed somebody, so I had to hide your purse in that column over there. And then I had to brick it in because I didn't want anyone to steal your purse. And I'm like, what? I mean, it's like my dreams are super detailed. And so I'm like, well, oh my God, I need my purse. There's a battery in the phone that when it's suffocated and doesn't get enough oxygen, it can explode. And then, of course, the pillar to the whole building with my purse inside it exploded, and I lost my address for my house and the keys to my car in my old house and my new house and the address for my client. And in my dream, it was like that was the only set of all these things that you could have. It's over. So in one fell swoop, I lost my car, my old place to live, my new place to live, all the things I owned, and my job, and my client was going to be deported. I mean, like crazy, right? So how much of that is true? Okay, none of it. But I did leave my car in Los Angeles in a parking lot that looked suspiciously like the one in my dream. So I let that go. I vented that out. I did have a friend who was gay in Mexico, and he came to the United States because his life was at stake. The people in his village would beat up to the point of death people that were gay or transvestite. It's like 20 years ago. Now it's not as bad, but this was a huge problem. So I think I'm letting that go. See, what else can I unpack from this insanity? I'm not a lawyer, nor am I rich from my profession, so I vented that out. I am not as tall as I would have liked. I'm venting that out. I'm looking at my hippie pants and t-shirt that I typically wear. So venting out the idea that I'm not wearing Chanel suits in really nice clothes that I wish I was wearing, venting that out. I'm not a professional, venting that out. I have been fired from jobs before. most of them I didn't care about. The last one I did, so maybe I'm venting that out. Let's see if there's any other metaphors. My life blowing up. Yeah, I kind of feel like, all my stuff in storage, I'm venting that out. Someone stole everything in my storage, everything I owned. All of my precious writings, baby pictures, jewelry. I had haunted jewelry with spirits attached. If I had known that was going to happen, I would have taken the jewelry with me or detached the spirits. So venting all that out. I had a really, really nice dress I never got to wear. A nice, really sexy long gown, and it was red with silver, like sequins and diamonds. Not real diamonds, like rhinestones on it, and still had the tags on. I never got to wear it. I don't know. So I guess in a way I'm venting out the idea of, there goes all my nice clothes. I had a lot of nice clothes. And so I'm venting out all this stuff. And the fact that I don't know where I'm going to live next. Venting that idea out. I think that's pretty much it. And then I had to forgive my son immediately in the dream, obviously. And I had to put all of my stuff aside. Like, I literally became homeless and jobless in 1 second. And then I'm responsible for somebody's life who he might die now and when he gets deported. And it was just like, I had to put all of that stuff aside to comfort my son who felt really bad. And that's something that as a mother you have to do constantly. No matter how bad your life gets, you have to be there for your kids when they feel bad about your life or their life. Like they do something to you accidentally, whatever they do. So venting all that out, I think there's not really anything else other than I was waiting and waiting and waiting. And because I didn't do something myself, that's when everything went wrong. If I had maybe driven my own car and took responsibility for myself instead of relying on somebody else, especially instead of relying on my son. And I have relied on him for a couple things that maybe I shouldn't have, like I gave him money to go get my inhaler and he forgot a couple times. And I went for a couple days without my inhaler and it got really scary. I almost died and I didn't tell him. So I think I'm venting that out. So that's kind of an example of like a quick dream analysis. If you have those early morning dreams, oh, thank God I vented that out. Thank God I vented that out. And if you go line by line of all the things and you go, man, I'm just cleaning out my subconscious left and right. I mean, don't take all that back in, obviously. I mean, I'm glad I'm not a lawyer, but in my dream, boy, I really cared about it. I could have been a lawyer. I mean, I considered it for about 5 seconds, but I considered a lot of professions. I considered doing autopsies because I'm intrigued by puzzles and I love the human body and the human anatomy. I'm really interested in science and medicine, and I could have been a doctor. There's a lot of stuff I could have been. And every now and again, I'll vent out these professions that I could have chosen instead. Professions that are constantly needed in the world, like being a doctor or a lawyer versus being a podcaster and a writer. But this is my passion, so I would have been really good at the other things, but I would not have been as passionate about it. And it would have just eventually probably killed me to have to do all that stuff I didn't feel passionate about. So I woke up, I was crying and crying and crying my heart out again. Usually when I wake up crying, it's like I have a dream that one of my kids has died or that, my mom came back to life and then she died again. I've had that one a couple times. And one time I had a dream that my husband came back to life as a zombie and he wanted to take the kids to school on his new motorcycle. And like he never had a motorcycle the whole time we knew each other, and but I was like, always having to like negotiate with him. Look, the people can't see you. You're really freaky looking. You're a zombie, so you have to drop the kids off at this corner. It was like so insane. Then he'd be like, "Can I go get your groceries for you?" I'm like, "No, I'm afraid your face is gonna fly off on the way to the store." So I've had like really insane dreams like that. But a lot of times it's like I'll have dreams that I'm seeing people who are now suddenly alive and they faked their own death, or somehow they came back and it's a Mandela effect, and who knew they're still alive? They've always been alive. And was I possibly thinking not calling them for 20 years? I have these kind of dreams. Or there's always the being naked on stage dreams I've had so many times, and the forgetting my locker combination, which is like going back to junior high. And like not being on time for class and being terrified of the principal. Mr. Simon, he was so tall. He was so scary looking. And then one day on Halloween, I went to his house. I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know it was his house. I knocked on the door and he was in a gorilla suit, and it scared the crap out of me. He's huge. He's really tall. He was like 6'4", which is terrifying when you're a pipsqueak little junior high kid. and he goes, "Oh my gosh, I know you." And he takes off the mask, and then I like startled a second time because it was Mr. Simon. And I'm like, "Is it a school night? Oh my God, did I do my homework?" I started totally panicking. And he was actually really sweet, and he gave us extra candy because he knew us. And I'm like, "Aw." So after that, I wasn't afraid of him anymore. And he told me that I was a good student, and my friend, she was a good student. And it was like, oh, okay, I'm not afraid of you anymore. But anyway, so I don't know if you guys are having venting dreams, and no matter how crazy they are, just be grateful you're venting all the information out. Because if you don't, and if you take that back in, and then that stays with you all day long, you feel guilty about the stuff that happened in the dream because it's related to stuff that happened in real life. Guess what? It goes back in your subconscious mind, and your mind works on it again. We're putting it through the washing machine twice. And it's like you got to air out your dirty laundry. That's what they call it. You just air it out. Get it up on a line. Let it dry. And when it dries, it's going to crumble and blow away in the wind, and you're going to be fine. And you're no longer going to have those worries or those fears or anything ever again, to do with that. So I woke up and I was like, at first it was sticking with me for a couple hours. I was like, oh man, my friend wrote me and he's like, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And I'm like, I just had like the worst dream and none of it makes any sense. And then after I started unraveling the ideas of it, I was like, oh, well, yeah, okay. It's like I took 10 things from my life, repackaged it so I wouldn't quite recognize it, and then I was able to let go of all of it. So pretty interesting. I have the sniffles today. I don't know if it's just, I think our immune systems are still being reworked and rewired somehow. My youngest, he's sick today. I woke up, I'm like, "Hey, good morning." He's like, "Oh, Mom, I'm so sick." I'm like, "Oh." So, we just I laid in bed most of the day talking to my friend in San Diego, texting back and forth, and he was just watching movies all day long. And I made him, he wanted me to make him pancakes. "Mom, can you make me pancakes?" "Sure." It's always a treat when you're sick, right? So I made him like 4 plates of pancakes. He was very hungry. It's hard when you're a teenager and you're growing and you're sick. And it's like, you want to sleep, but you still need to eat. So, he had already gotten up and made a huge breakfast for himself, but then I had to make him pancakes. And so I did it with cocoa powder, cacao, and cinnamon and anise. So it was almost like, not anise, I'm sorry, allspice. So it's almost like a Christmas morning pancake. When I mixed in the batter, it came out looking like a whole grain. I thought that would be a neat trick if some health conscious person came over for breakfast and they said, oh, these are whole grain. You go, okay. But they were really good. I told my son they're like Mexican chocolate pancakes because of the cinnamon. And they were very good. And we didn't have any syrup, so I had to put brown sugar on the pancakes instead. We have like 3 or 4 backup plans for pancakes just in case we don't have all the ingredients. It's like a staple in our family. All right, guys, we're gonna talk about the Schumann resonance right now. Oh, I did want to say that the Ascension Symptom Scale, we're still at 99. We're still at 99. If you guys are still feeling an overwhelm of energy or emotions, we're still venting out all those emotions, just little by little, they're going to go away. Lisa Transcends Brown, a few weeks ago, had put out, I think it was like the last weekend of May or the first week of June, she had put out a video just because people were worried about her. Like, wait, we haven't heard from you in so long. I think she might be getting up there in age a little bit, so people get a little worried about her. I know I was starting to wonder about her myself. And she said she just got into the flow, just living day to day, living moment by moment, feeling the beauty and the harmony and the love in all of life, not worried about the future, not even considering the past, living as a multidimensional being in the moment of now, ignoring that time even exists. And she was off the internet for a whole month. And I thought that was pretty cool. I can't do that because I got my show. I got you guys. So, and she lives in Hawaii, though. I mean, I can't imagine how wonderful that would be just to live in the now moment every second of every day in Hawaii, of all places. But she said she's been doing a lot. She's been working and she's been writing books and she's been doing a lot of physical labor and house projects, and that she's actually doing really well. So I thought that was cool. It was good to hear from her. For those of you who don't know who Lisa Transcendence Brown is, she's one of the beginning way showers of the Ascension, and she went way far ahead of us, way in advance. And her transformation took place pretty quickly, and she had no knowledge what was happening until it happened. And then she got all the downloads and all the information, and she can explain it, what's happening to us, better than I can, better than anybody else on the internet right now can. I don't really think, I'm like trying to think, I'm searching my brain, all the files in my brain filing cabinets. Nope. I can't find a single person who actually can explain things better than her. Aluna Ash comes close, but that's it. And everybody else seems to be reading or talking about everybody else's stuff, except for the Why So Serious, but she's only really talking about the energy downloads that we're getting from the cosmos. That's what she can see, and that's what her specialty and talent is. So I did notice that there were purple and pink energies coming to us in addition to the cobalt blue, the dark blue that I had seen before. So today in the clouds, I saw layers and layers of clouds, and I saw purple and pink energy. So very, very high spiritual vibration, a lot of love energy. It's coming our way because we're expanding our hearts. And the more we expand our hearts, and the more we live from the heart space, the more a lot of the frustration, anger, feelings of overwhelm, fear of the future, all those kind of things, greed, jealousy, disharmony, just everything, disrespect, all the negative energies are going to be flowing away from us. We will be out of all of it soon. So, all right. Schumann resonance today. 8 a.m. they write, today's activity started shortly after midnight UTC to reach 122 hertz at 1 and 24 hertz at 4:10 UTC, which is the highest peak so far. And again, 22 hertz at 7 UTC. And then the evening report, 1700. The activity has lasted practically all day until now. The highest peaks were those previously reported. So basically only 24 hertz. I mean, what's that, 9 more than yesterday? Not a lot. Not a lot, I mean, considering. Not a lot considering. So, let me see here. Oh, darn it. I had it queued up and now I forgot. Okay. I'm looking for the Course in Miracles. So, yeah, whatever the Schumann resonance is or does, I mean, it's obviously recording something and showing us something. Maybe we just have a lot of downtime and that's why it's not hopping around a lot. We've all been very tired maybe or overwhelmed. I don't know. Is that just me? Is it you guys? All right. I'm looking up the correct lesson for today. All right. Let's see here. Aluna Ash had an excellent reading. If you want to go look at... Oh, I'm just got the wrong lesson, darn it. If you want to... oh, goodness. All right, here we go. Yeah, if you want to listen to her, she did a tarot card reading on the divine masculine counterpart to the twin flame dynamic relationship. And I just felt like she was talking directly at me about my twin. I just feel, because he's mentioned some of the things that she definitely mentioned in her reading. So I don't know if it will resonate with you or not. It was weird. Usually I'll see someone doing a reading and I go, well, 5% of it kind of related to me a little bit. I mean, if I fit it right. This one, it just felt like she was talking directly to me. It was very weird. Towards the end of her reading, she said a few things that did not fit. So I would say 95% for me fitted, but I don't know. I guess the divine masculine is the one that's holding back the train in those of us who haven't met our twins yet. And it's not that he has, it's just that most of the divine masculines got caught up by karma or got caught up in a relationship or in something that wasn't really part of the plan. I thought that was a very interesting insight. I have a feeling that's what's happening to my guy. And that there's like a fear of the future, so let's get involved with the next person we see type of energy. I have a feeling that my guy screwed up big time. It was with somebody who really hurt him, and now he has to go through a bunch of stuff. That's what I feel. I mean, even like possibly court, legal stuff. It's just a weird feeling. And every time I do a reading, I keep getting like legal and court and those kinds of issues. So I feel like, well, as soon as your stupid court is over, you could come get me. Then we, at least we can meet and talk. And anyway, lesson 21 in A Course in Miracles today is, I am determined to see things differently. Remember yesterday's I am determined to see. Now it is, I am determined to see things differently. And the practice period includes, I'm determined to see, and then you name a person, and then differently. And then I'm determined to see blank, specify the situation differently. So if I was going to look back on my divorce, I would have to say, I'm determined to see Terrell differently. I am determined to see the nature of my divorce differently, for an example. For me, I'm already over all that. I kind of get it, but I've talked to him since he's died a few times. I mean, he's died once. I've talked to him a few times since, so I've gotten through it. And then if you're still like distorted about something, you could say, I am determined. Oh, here's a good one for everybody. I'm determined to see Donald Trump in the White House differently. Please say it's leaving it now in handcuffs. Being guarded by United Nations guards, please. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't want to be political. This is not a political show, but I had to say that. Oh, man. All right, so... All right, guess what tonight is? Do you guys remember? It is Kahlil Gibran night. Woohoo! Or Kahlil Gibran. I think it's probably Gibran. I'm excited. I think we have 2 more weeks of this. We'll see how far I get through it tonight. We're going to start with the chapter on freedom. I am reading this from Gutenberg.org. You can go read pretty much all books known to man directly online from Gutenberg. All the old classics. So I don't think I mentioned that before, but I'm mentioning it now because it's pretty exciting. Anyway, please let the next 1 minute and 39 seconds play out while you run and get your, I don't know, hot Jello tea or your bean bag or your sweater. I don't know what you guys do. I shouldn't always encourage you to eat, right? Popcorn, anyone? I don't know, spirulina shake. All right, we'll encourage you to eat healthy. Spinach dip and crackers. Oh, I love that. Okay, I will be right back after this. If you're listening to this, you obviously like podcasts, and you probably like music too. Long walks on the beach, romantic dancing under the stars, and oh wait, we're not doing that right now. On Spotify, you can listen to all of that in one place for free, and you don't even need a premium account, which is cool. Free is always good. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, including your long romantic walks on the beach. Also, one thing I love about Spotify is that you can easily share what you're listening to with your friends via Spotify's integrations with the social platforms like Instagram. So that makes it really, really versatile. Just search for Metaphysical Soul Speak on the Spotify app or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. And follow me, of course, don't forget, so that you'll never again miss an episode of Metaphysical Soul Speak. Spotify is the world's leading music streaming service, and now it can be your go-to for podcasts too. Thank you guys so much for supporting Metaphysical Soul Speak on Spotify. So before we get into it, I just got a tweet from Sandia, the ET. This is someone who's a telepath who is telepathing with the ETs that are being kept at the Sandia National Laboratory in New Mexico. And they're very fun. They have got beautiful personalities and they're hilarious. And they just sent this to the telepath, this joke. Entomologist Yurt says, just kind of looks up at the person, me, it says me. Me says, so, you're a butterfly guy. Yurt says, yes, but I'm nocturnal. Me, yeah? There's a pregnant pause. Yurt, butterflies aren't nocturnal. Another pause. Me. Yeah? Starting to feel like some kind of a verbal setup here. Yurt. That makes me a Mothman. I don't know if you guys know about the scary Mothman. He has come to warn humanity right before several disasters. I might have to do a show on the Mothman. My oldest kid saw the Mothman in our yard, and the Mothman came to me in a dream when we were in Michigan. Scared the crap out of us, because if you look at the Mothman Prophecies book, the people who were actually in contact directly with the Mothman died of radiation poisoning. It wasn't intentional. It was just, our bodies can't handle whatever it is the hell that he's putting out. But it's hilarious. It's a funny joke coming from a different species, a different ET from a different world than the Mothman world, making fun of the situation. Anyway, oh, it was so weird. I had to relay that one along to you guys. All right, where we left off last week was we talked about crime and punishment and how we're not really separate. The people who commit the crimes aren't really separate from the people who are free, and the people who are free aren't really free as long as people are locked up. And it was a big philosophical, good set of insights there. It was pretty cool. Anyway, now we are on the chapter of freedom. Again, this is Kahlil Gibran's The Prophet. Let me get comfortable here so I can read this. Okay. I have two phones open, one to record and one to read. All right. And an orator said, "Speak to us of freedom." And he answered, he being Mustafa, "At the city gate and by your fireside, I have seen you prostrate yourself and worship your own freedom. Even as slaves humble themselves before a tyrant and praise him though he slays them. I, in the grove of the temple and in the shadow of the citadel, I have seen the freest among you wear their freedom as a yoke and a handcuff. And my heart bled within me, for you can only be free when even the desire of seeking freedom becomes a harness to you, and when you cease to speak of freedom as a goal and a fulfillment. You shall be free indeed when your days are not without a care, nor your nights without a want and a grief. But rather when these things girdle your life, and yet you rise above them naked and unbound. And how shall you rise beyond your days and nights, unless you break the chains which you at the dawn of your understanding have fastened around your noon hour? In truth, that which you call freedom is the strongest of these chains, though its links glitter in the sun and dazzle your eyes. And what is it but fragments of your own self you would discard that you may become free? If it is an unjust law you would abolish, that law was written with your own hand upon your own forehead. You cannot erase it by burning your law books, nor by washing the foreheads of your judges, though you pour the sea upon them. And if it is a despot you would dethrone, see first that his throne erected within you is destroyed. For how can a tyrant rule the free and the proud, but for a tyranny in their own freedom and a shame in their own pride? And if it is a care you would cast off, that cart has been chosen by you rather than imposed upon you. And if it is a fear you would dispel, the seat of that fear is in your heart and not in the hand of the feared. Verily, all things move within your being in constant half embrace. The desired and the dreaded, the repugnant and the cherished, the pursued and that which you would escape. These things move within you as lights and shadows in pairs that cling. And when the shadow fades and is no more, the light that lingers becomes a shadow to another light. And thus your freedom, when it loses its fetters, becomes itself the fetter of a greater freedom. And the priestess spoke again and said, "Speak to us of reason and passion." And he answered, saying, "Your soul is oftentimes a battlefield, upon which your reason and your judgment wage war against your passion and your appetite. Would that I could be the peacemaker in your soul, that I might turn the discord and the rivalry of your elements into oneness and melody. But how shall I, unless you yourselves be also the peacemakers, nay, the lovers of all your elements? Your reason and your passion are the rudder and the sails of your seafaring soul. If either your sails or your rudder be broken, you can but toss and drift, or else be held at a standstill in mid-seas. For reason, ruling alone, is a force confining, and passion unattended is a flame that burns to its own destruction. Therefore, let your soul exalt your reason to the height of passion, that it may sing. And let it direct your passion with reason, that your passion may live through its own daily resurrection, and like the phoenix rise above its own ashes. I would have you consider your judgment and your appetite, even as you would two loved guests in your house. Surely you would not honor one guest above the other, for he who is more mindful of one loses the love and the faith of both. Among the hills, when you sit in the cool shade of the white poplars, sharing the peace and serenity of distant fields and meadows, then let your heart say in silence, God rests in reason. And when the storm comes and the mighty wind shakes the forest and thunder and lightning proclaim the majesty of the sky, then let your heart say in awe, God moves in passion. And since you are a breath in God's sphere and a leaf in God's forest, you too should rest in reason and move in passion. And a woman spoke, saying, Tell us of pain. And he said, Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. Even as the stone of the fruit must break, that its heart may stand in the sun, so must you know pain. And could you keep your heart in wonder of the daily miracles of your life, your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy. And you would accept the seasons of your heart, even as you have always accepted the seasons that pass over your fields. And you would watch with serenity through the winters of your grief. Much of your pain is self-chosen. It is the bitter potion by which the physician within you heals your sick self. Therefore, trust the physician and drink his remedy in silence and tranquility. For his hand, though heavy and hard, is guided by the tender hand of the unseen. And the cup he brings, though it burn your lips, has been fashioned of the clay which the potter has moistened with his own sacred tears. And a man said, "Speak to us of self-knowledge." And he answered, saying, "Your hearts know in silence the secrets of the days and the nights, but your ears thirst for the sound of your heart's knowledge. You would know in words that which you have always known in thought. You would touch with your fingers the naked body of your dreams, and it is well you should. The hidden wellspring of your soul must needs rise and run, murmuring to the sea, and the treasure of your infinite depths would be revealed to your eyes. But let there be no scales to weigh your unknown treasure, and seek not the depths of your knowledge with staff or sounding line. For self is a sea, boundless and measureless. Say not, "I have found the truth," but rather, "I have found a truth." Say not, "I have found the path of the soul." Say rather, "I have met my soul walking upon my path." For the soul walks upon all paths. The soul walks not upon a line, neither does it grow like a reed. The soul unfolds itself like a lotus of countless petals. Then said a teacher, "Speak to us of teaching." And he said, "No man can reveal to you aught but that which already lies half asleep in the dawning of your knowledge. The teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom, but rather of his faith and his lovingness. If he is indeed wise, he does not bid you enter the house of his wisdom, but rather leads you to the threshold of your own mind. The astronomer may speak to you of his understanding of space, but he cannot give you his understanding. The musician may sing to you of the rhythm which is in all space, but he cannot give you the ear which arrests the rhythm, nor the voice that echoes it. And he who is versed in the science of numbers can tell you the regions of weight and of measure, but he cannot conduct you thither. For the vision of one man lends not its wings to another man. And even as each one of you stands alone in God's knowledge, so must each one of you be alone in his knowledge of God and in his understanding of the earth. And a youth said, "Speak to us of friendship." And he answered, saying, "Your friend is your needs answered. He is your field which you sow with love and reap with thanksgiving. And he is your board and your fireside. For you come to him with your hunger, and you seek him for peace. When your friend speaks his mind, you fear not the nay in your own mind, nor do you withhold the aye. And when he is silent, your heart ceases not to listen to his heart. For without words in friendship, all thoughts, all desires, all expectations are born and shared with joy that is unacclaimed. When you part from your friend, you grieve not, for that which you love most in him may be clearer in his absence. As to the mountain to the climber is clearer from the plain. And let there be no purpose in friendship save the deepening of the spirit. For love that seeks aught but the disclosure of its own mystery is not love but a net cast forth, and only the unprofitable is caught. And let your best be for your friend. If he must know the ebb of your tide, let him know its flood also. For what is your friend that you should seek him with hours to kill? Seek him always with hours to live. For it is his to fill your need, but not your emptiness. And in the sweetness of friendship, let there be laughter and sharing of pleasures. For in the dew of the little things, the heart finds its morning and is refreshed. Then a scholar said, "Speak of talking." And he answered, saying, "You talk when you cease to be at peace with your thoughts, and when you can no longer dwell in the solitude of your heart, you live in your lips, and sound is a diversion and a pastime. And in much of your talking, thinking is half murdered. For thought is a bird of space that in a cage of words may indeed unfold its wings, but cannot fly. There are those among you who seek the talkative through fear of being alone. The silence of aloneness reveals to their eyes their naked selves, and they would escape. And there are those who talk and, without knowledge or forethought, reveal a truth which they themselves do not understand. And there are those who have the truth within them, but they tell it not in words. In the bosom of such as these, the Spirit dwells in rhythmic silence. When you meet your friend on the roadside or in the marketplace, let the Spirit in you move your lips and direct your tongue. Let the voice within your voice speak to the ear of his ear. For his soul will keep the truth of your heart, as the taste of the wine is remembered, when the color is forgotten, and the vessel is no more. And an astronomer said, Master, what of time? And he answered, You would measure time the measureless and the immeasurable. You would adjust your conduct and even direct the course of your spirit according to hours and seasons. Of time you would make a stream, upon whose bank you would sit and watch its flowing. Yet the timeless in you is aware of life's timelessness, and knows that yesterday is but today's memory, and tomorrow is today's dream. And that which sings and contemplates in you is still dwelling within the bounds that first moment which scattered the stars into space. Who among you does not feel that his power to love is boundless? And yet, who does not feel that very love, though boundless, encompassed within the center of his being, and moving not from love thought to love thought, nor from love deeds to other love deeds? And is not time, even as love is, undivided and paceless? But if in your thought you must measure time into seasons, let each season encircle all other seasons, and let today embrace the past with remembrance, and the future with longing. All right, guys, I think I'm going to stop now. The next group will be week 4. And we're going to start with good and evil. And it seems to me that all of these kind of go together. The next group. So I like what he has to say about time. What do you guys think? I like what he had to say about friendship and about being one and oneness. I was just mentioning just moments ago Lisa Transcendence Brown, and she was talking about the light codes that we've all been embraced by that speak to us, our hearts, and each individual cell of oneness. We are going to soon become the living embodiment of oneness itself. As soon as we're able to give up the ghost of linear thinking, we are so close, guys. We're so close. And in that moment and on that day when we have 65% of us that are ascending become awake and aware of our, if not our homeboundness, at least our upward mobility towards the higher vibration. When 65% of us are aware, we will be bombarded with pulsating rhythms from the grand central sun. And on that day, we're going to be washed clean from all lower vibrational thoughts. There won't be a sad or a mad bone in our body. We won't be afraid. Because we're going to understand that we are timeless in those moments, and we're going to understand that all will be well because we're not humans having an occasional experience, but rather We are souls. We are spirits, currently pretending that we are human and limited. So we are fractalized parts of the one great God from the center of all universes and all galaxies, the prime creator. We are little fractals, little fractalizational parts, shards off the big crystal. We're little shards of crystal, little pieces of the big piece. And then we sometimes fractalize ourselves, and then we go off and live in different galaxies. We don't even know. And then when we become aware, it's really weird. Like I know I'm living 4 lives in 4 other planets right now. Not to mention all the lives I've lived here on different timelines at the same time. Collapsed a lot of them. I think I'm on my final timeline. I think we're all on our final timeline right now. I'm going to try in the next week or so to put together another Mandela Effect program. Might be half of an episode. There's a lot more brand new ones. Can you believe it? There's more and more Mandela Effects. Crazy, right? I saw a video today, and this guy was from South Africa. He wrote, okay, let's face it, how many South Africans are on here because of the name Mandela in the title? I thought that was hilarious. I guess he had just heard about the Mandela Effect and he wanted to understand it. So he saw the video and he was like, whoa, that's not what I was looking for. Mind blown. So anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed Kahlil Gibran's reading I did of The Prophet. I love this book. This book is sacred to me. Kahlil Gibran himself, I think he was very enlightened as a person. And maybe he just did a lot of reading, but it sounds to me like he was quite possibly a master, if not a saint. He was definitely an enlightened being. And so, I don't know about you. I got some messages. I got some personal messages in this reading tonight. I hope that you guys did too. Maybe there's some synchronicities. A lot of synchronicities lately. A lot of synchronicities, not just in numbers, but in words and ideas, and words that sound like names and names that sound like words. I even saw a video today of a guy who started to work with his friend, and his friend was one of a huge family, and he had 7 brothers, and they're putting together a house, and this project is enormous. And he said that every single day somebody came to do a job on the house that had a name just like this guy's brothers. And on the 6th day, they were saying, gosh, it's so weird because the only person that didn't show up was someone with the name William, like my last brother. And wouldn't you know it, the next day, a guy showed up to do the last job whose name was William. I mean, that's some spooky stuff right there. I mean, that's beyond synchronicity. That is greatly the universe saying, hey, nothing is completely random. It's all mathematical. And once you see the patterns and you know they're there, and you understand that you are God and you're behind all of this, you start identifying with the one will the way Jesus did. He told us to do that, didn't he? I think he did. He said you could do all this and more. And he would often say, I am and my Father are one. I don't feel 100% one with God yet. I feel very close to the one will, but I don't feel that I am one with God. I don't create miracles. Not the way Jesus did. I wish I could. I think I have created a couple things that might be not maybe considered miracles, but weird, mysterious. Miracles, maybe not. What about you guys? What synchronicities and crazy things have you experienced, and what have you brought about for other people? It's a lot to think about, right? And how are you going to go about your world in a way in which you feel one with everybody, even the people that are absolutely asleep and make you mad or hurt your feelings or do stupid things to other people or to you? How are you going to resolve that? You got to resolve it. We got to love everybody. God said, love the whole world. No exceptions. No exceptions. Well, I'm going to leave you with those deep thoughts. I hope you enjoyed tonight's episode. That's all I got to say about that. So I'm signing off now with peace and joy and the high vibes of the holy fifth dimension. Until next time, guys, peace. Metaphysical Soul Speak is run on sponsors and listener support. This means listeners like you. If you are so inclined to support my efforts and my little podcast, please visit me at anchor.fm/metaphysical and pledge an amount of your choosing today. Thank you.